The paper takes all English wealth data and uses the fact that you can observe dynasties and their wealth in a period before World War I when inheritance taxes are zero. And you take that wealth, you let it accumulate into the future to 2020 at the average rate of return of capital on the economy. And you take that pot of money as being what you predict they should be leaving. But then you look at what they actually leave, and you look at the gap between what you expect them to have and what they actually report. And that gap is hidden wealth.
So this is not the main entrance, but this one is also nice. Have a meeting with Paul, one of my ex-supervisors, to talk about the exercise class for economic history, and then we have a seminar. Oh, it's very cold. Some announcements here. Friday bar with live music. Okay. They have very comfortable couches here. I like this map. When I was a student here, it was very useful. So Anthony here is one of our seminar organizers.
So we have a applied economics seminar series at SDU. So our group combines people working in applied micro and on health mostly, as well as a pretty large economic history group. So we bring together speakers from both groups, and each year we have about 16 to 20 seminars, and the way we kind of invite speakers is that everyone in our group gets to choose sort of 3 people that they'd like to invite, and we try to make sure that everyone gets at least one of their choices. Of course, some people are not available for seminars, so we have to deal with that. But beyond that, there's some flexibility as the organizer to try to get people who are doing research in areas that
in your field
that a lot of people in the group are working in. So we don't have, for example, we don't have anyone in the group working on financial history, so it doesn't really make sense to invite someone in that particular area.
Although Kris Mitchener came here, which was interesting seminar actually. I like
so
that.
we have had people who work across many different areas. So Ralf Meisenzahl was here last week, and he does some work on more on the economic history and growth and development side. So that was a topic area that was of interest to a lot of people in the group. But overall, we try to have a very high quality seminar series. So we're inviting people from all across the world, not just Europe. We have budget to invite speakers from US universities. We've also had James Kung recently from Hong Kong, so from Asia as well. And I think one thing that we try to look for is people who are editors in top journals,
that's
people who
important.
might be potential editors on our papers, or potential referees, get them exposed to to our research here and get feedback sort of at an early stage. So in addition to speaker giving seminars, we have them here for a day of meetings, so a lot of one-on-one meetings with all the faculty, as well as the graduate students, postdocs. So we want them to know what type of research we're doing here and help promote that research.
And it was great to get feedback from everybody, really smart questions, and definitely getting
That's
some
nice
new
to hear.
ideas. And yeah, I think it was kind of good. I was glad to move past slide number 3 about 40 minutes into the talk. That's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
the life goal of mine. And to finish 99 slides, more or less.
Yeah, you had a lot of
with
slides.
1 minute after. And so yeah, it was really good. I think people were interested, and it was really great also just to talk to people separately afterwards and to get to know your guys' research and everything that's happening here. I think it's quite unique here in the sense that you guys are pushing into kind of using kind of big data methods in economic history in a way that's like quite rare, I think, because it's quite hard to get those technical skills and to do this kind of thing and ask big questions. So I kind of predict that like this place is really on the rise as a real center of technically proficient, extremely high quality economic history research. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I hope to come back sometime.
Yeah, sure.
So the papers, I'm still working on the paper. There's a lot in it. So basically the paper takes all English wealth data and uses the fact that you can observe dynasties and their wealth in a period before World War I when inheritance taxes are 0. And you take that wealth, you let it accumulate into the future to 2020 at the average rate of return of capital on the economy. And you take that pot of money as being what you predict they should be leaving. But then you look at what they actually leave, and you look at the gap between what you expect them to have and what they actually report. And that gap is hidden wealth. Now, for any individual dynasty, that will just be, a probability. Dynasties rise and fall. There's randomness. There's mad inheritors. There's consumption of all sorts of expensive luxuries that is going to dilute even the grandest fortunes. But for the Victorian elites as a whole, about 1/3 of their expected inherited wealth is missing. And I show that wealth, that hidden wealth, predicts appearance in the Paradise Papers. They are the offshore banking leaks of about a few years ago. It also predicts whether the ancestors of these Victorian elites show up in Oxford and Cambridge University today. And also, this is moving around outcomes in the sense of making holders of these surnames, which are hiding wealth, live in houses that are much more expensive. I have all this data and can show that contemporary England, outcomes in contemporary England are being shaped by this hidden wealth measure. And it's interesting. I think there's lots of different kind of takeaways from the paper. In fact, there's a lot going on in the paper. I probably should just focus in on 1 or 2 things, but everything's so super interesting. And yeah, it's good to get feedback on it, I think.